Welcome to Aspire to Retire. I'm your host, Cheryl Nelson. I'm here with Ralph and Tim Shore, along with Scott Earhart, all from Welcome Home Financial Partners. Guys, good to be with you again today.
Thanks for having us.
So today, we're talking about something we all feel when thinking about retirement, and that is emotions. We feel all kinds of emotions. Maybe we're excited, maybe we're scared, but it's a double-edged sword. How do you guys personally envision retirement? I want to know.
For me?
All of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go first.
For me, it's doing the things I want to do
Okay.
without being told what to do, how to do it.
I think everybody wants that, right?
Yeah.
Would you guys agree, or do you
Yeah,
think about it differently?
I think everybody agrees to that. It's just what you want to do. But the biggest thing is you need to have the peace of mind to be able to do the things you want to do, whether it's working part-time or
Golf.
continue to work or golf or
Golf,
travel or
yes.
whatever the case may be. But when it comes down to it, you've got to plan for those things, and that's what we're here for.
So as you plan for retirement, though, how do you know specifically if I'm on the right path, if you're on the right path? How do we know that? Because none of us have that magical crystal ball that I always talk about, because I'd like to say that we could look in that and say, okay, yeah, you're doing the right thing, or go to a fortune teller, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows for sure 100% what it's going to look like. But you have to have a plan. You have to understand what your goals are in order to accomplish them. And the biggest thing that people need to understand is it's not set in stone. If you've got a plan, which not many people do have a plan, you need to understand whatever you got planned out may not work the way you had planned for. Because right now you're in good health. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you might have had a couple of heart attacks and you may not be able to do the things that you thought you'd be able to do. So just understand that things will change. We just don't know when, we just don't know how.
Right.
Okay?
So what do you, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to, the helping people understand that things will change, but they've got to take the first step, because I'm a worrier. I worry about everything. And I know that with my retirement plan, I've taken the first step. I have a budget. I understand where I want to be. I understand my investments. And I at least feel a little bit more comfortable about where I'm heading. And I am prepared for if my health change, if I eat another one of the cruise donuts and have that heart attack.
Let's talk about those donuts for a second. It's all about moderation, Scott.
Well, the other thing I would say is people need to understand that it is a scary situation to be in because you've never done that before. So you need people to help you, guide you along the way.
Right.
And we do not, as a professional and fiduciaries, we do not have all the answers, but we can get them for you based on what you're wanting to do, not what somebody in the home office somewhere else is going to say you need to do.
Exactly, and that's what I like about you guys. I love hand holding, and I feel like you do that with your clients, like family. You hold their hands and you walk them through it. And I would assume that you probably see clients when they come in for the first time not knowing what to do or not knowing how to transition to retirement, right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what to do because they've never done it before, right? It's always the fear of the unknown, but a lot of people don't want to sit down and take the time because either they're afraid to do it or it's not something they particularly want to do because it's not the funnest thing in the world to do. And that's what, sometimes it's hard conversations that you have to have, but if you're wanting to do all your retirement dreams and you want to live 20, 30, 40 years in retirement, those are things that we've got to account for. So a lot of things can go awry if you don't have those plans, and if those plans aren't flexible. If you're just relying on that statement, if you're just relying on that one account, things might not work out the way you want them to do, and that's not what you want to retire from work for.
What if somebody says to you, well, I don't think I'm going to live that long into retirement anyway. I don't need to save all that money. I'm not going to be around to use it. What would you say to somebody who says something like that?
How do you know? What if you lived 20 years and you had planned on 10 years and spent all your money?
Right.
What are you going to do at that point in time?
Right.
And that's why we say we don't know exactly that plan is going to work for you, but you do have to make sure that you got things going on.
Yeah, and we never know, right? I don't know how I lived through my 20s, but I'm still
Oh,
here.
no. Are we opening up Pandora's box
right.
here?
So we just don't know. And there are a lot of people, and I know Ralph and I know Scott can speak to this, is a lot of people say, hey, I want to spend my last dime. I don't have kids, or I don't want to leave them any money because they haven't done anything for me. Ooh. Well, the problem is when are you going to pass away? Nobody knows the answer to that. So, you know, if a male is supposed to pass at age 83 at this point in time, what if you live to 93? What if you live to 100? Or better yet, what if you're thinking about retiring at 65 and you pass away at 64? We just don't know these details.
I mean, Ralph is working with a client right now. I guess we all kind of are working with her. Her mother just passed away, left her a bit of a windfall. Her mother was 103 or 104.
Wow.
I mean, humans are we're living longer. We need to be prepared for longevity.
Yeah.
And you need to be prepared financially for longevity.
And it's really your genetic makeup too, helps a little bit, but also your lifestyle. I mean, some people don't live the exact lifestyle that they should be for a long life, but genes play an important part. So
they really do. Nobody knows, and it's best to be prepared. So what do you believe a more secure retirement looks like then for your clients?
income, income, income.
Oh boy, okay.
You have to have income to do the things that you want to do. You have to have a plan. Like everybody says here, that statement is not your plan. It just says, this is how much money I have over my head, and this is what I can do with it. But that's not a plan.
And when you say income, though, it has to be income put into the right baskets, right? Because you don't want it just all sitting there in your bank account.
You need multiple options to get your income from. As we've talked about previously on this show, what if something changes in the markets, or what if something changes in DC that has an adverse effect on your money? You need to be diversified and have multiple options to draw from so that you can sustain your lifestyle that you want throughout your retirement years.
Right. And a secure retirement is peace of mind so you can sleep at night.
Yeah,
right?
I
But
know.
back to Ralph's point, is income is the foundation of your retirement.
Yeah, so that makes me think about this. How often do you see somebody who comes in for the first time to see you and says, gosh, I wish I would have started this earlier?
It happens quite a bit, but the deal is that now you've got to take action, and we can't control what happened in the past. The past is the past for a reason. So we got to take a look at the present time and the future, and that's something that we can help out with.
Yeah, so are you spending more time then in the present, or are you spending more time looking ahead to the future? I guess in this case, is it the future?
Well, it's going to be both, right? But it's all going to be based off each individual situation. But the biggest thing is you can't beat yourself up for what you did or what you did not do in the past. Now we've got to take a look at what we can now do.
So true.
And you can't let that haunt you.
No.
You can't let it haunt you. The
No.
most important thing is take action. If you've made that realization, take action. One of those things would be scan that QR code and set an appointment, I think.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, yes, that's at the bottom of the screen. Scan that QR code right now, or you can take a call, pick up the phone and call us. And speaking of that, we have a special offer.
Yeah, so the first 10 callers who have saved $250,000 or more for retirement, we'd like for them to call the number you see on your screen, 833-897-4845. I'd like to personally invite you into the office where we'll create that very own retirement roadmap just for you. And Cheryl, the best part is we'll do it on a complimentary basis.
Complimentary. So we need to take a brief break. We'll give you some time to scan that code or pick up the phone and call. If you would like some personal advice about retirement planning and more, that number again is 833-897-4845. Call right now. Coming up next, we will help you put together the puzzle pieces of retirement planning. You'll want to stick around for this.
Imagine the future you've been wanting all along. A world where your retirement income is covered and you don't have to worry. Your financial assets are protected, and you have an experienced team fighting every day to grow your assets. Imagine a company creating tax strategies and legacy plans to make sure your loved ones are protected no matter what happens. At Welcome Home Financial Partners, we're an experienced financial team with the right professional licenses and an unbreakable commitment to making our clients feel like family. Here you'll find determined, friendly faces in a world filled with obstacles and problems. We help plan your retirement income to ensure you won't run out of money in retirement. We build in protection to make sure your assets are covered on all sides. We focus on growing your wealth to combat inflation and rising cost of living. And we design tax strategies to help you avoid paying back what you shouldn't while protecting the people you love. our team never stops fighting for you. With an unparalleled work ethic, we work hard because we know your future depends on it. We're proud to help you choose the life you want to live in retirement. Welcome to your financial future. We're so glad you're here.
Welcome back to Aspire to Retire. We're talking all about retirement and putting together puzzle pieces to try to make it a little bit easier for you. So the pieces of the retirement puzzle, people don't know how to put these together or what the different pieces are. Let's break that down and explain it as best you can.
I would say, why is that so? Because you've never retired before. And most people don't understand it is a process that you need to start on 5 to 10 years before you actually want to retire. We actually have people come in today that says, tomorrow I'm putting my papers in, I want my pensions to start tomorrow. So that's not the proper way of doing it. So most people do not know they need to start planning for this. They don't understand the steps that they need to go in. And there's so many different choices as far as pension options, if you're lucky enough to have a pension, when to take Social Security, when to basically start your income coming in from your retirement accounts. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree. And if we're talking about the puzzle pieces, I mean, we've already talked about income earlier in the show. We've got to look at, how are we going to afford our health care, things like that in the future, and what's going to happen there. A lot of people are concerned about leaving legacies, things like that. How do they leave the legacy they want? There's all sorts of puzzle pieces that go together, and not everybody's putting together the same puzzle. Some things are more important to others. Some people have different needs. So that's why you meet with people like us to help you decide what pieces you want to put together and build your perfect little puzzle there, I guess.
Because every puzzle is different. I don't think any two puzzles are going to be the same. One thing though, when people think about retirement, or at least when we used to think about retirement, it was called the golden years. Oh, this is lovely. We're all gonna have all this money that we worked for all our lives, and it's gonna be great. And now I feel like, the way the market is, the way inflation is, I don't know if you'd want to call this the golden years anymore, maybe the rusty years. I'm not really sure. But what can people do to strive to have the golden years they always dreamed of?
Well, still the number one rule is you need to have protection when it comes to your portfolio when you get close to retirement. Because if the market does what it's been doing, you don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's number one. But number two is we need to make those golden years stay golden. We don't want those to be rusty years, right?
No, we don't.
So everybody needs to focus in on, hey, instead of just trying to build as many assets as we possibly can once we're in retirement or getting close to retirement, we need to flip that switch, and we need to make sure that that asset or assets are there to generate that income. Because if they're not there, then they're not going to be those golden years.
But I would also say at the same time, retirement in the golden years, when that expression was developed, that was when you turned 65, you had a pension, your gold watch, and within 5 years, 9 times out of 10, you were no longer here. And longevity is a problem now for people in retirement because there's a lot of people that's living to 95 to 100 years old, and if you're not prepared, you're staying longer in retirement than you did when you were working. So you got to be prepared for that.
That's a good point.
I'd tell anybody that you can have the golden years. It doesn't have to be. You can have golden years, but you have to take action. You have to build a plan. You have to most people, you have to raise your hand and ask for some help, some assistance in understanding what you need to do to live those golden years. It's not a foreign concept. I mean, it's not a thing of the past. You can still have it. You just have to get it yourself. Like Ralph said, when the golden years term came about, it was here's your pension, here's your gold watch, and everything's taken care of for you. Now you have to take care of it yourself.
Oh, and lifestyle comes into play when we retire. I know you guys will probably want to be on the golf course until you're 90, right?
Probably.
Yeah?
I don't know. I don't play golf. I don't know what you guys are
Well,
talking
yes,
about.
you do.
No.
You both play golf all the time. But lifestyle, we want to do the things that make us happy.
Right.
But some people say, well, gosh, I thought I would have money to go to the golf course every day. I thought I would have money to go on all these vacations and take cruises and trips. And now I don't know. So is it better if I just sit on the couch and watch TV and not spend any money? What are they supposed to do?
Well, they need to know their numbers. They need to understand what their budget is, and we talk to people about that with the roadmap. But at the same time, not everybody has the same goals and aspirations. So you need to make sure you understand what it is that they're wanting to do. And there's basically people will sit up at home because they're scared to do anything because they're afraid they're running out of money. So with those plans in place, you don't have to worry about being scared. You can do the things that you want to do. But if you are worried about what's going to happen because you're spending too much money, then you sit back and not going to enjoy those golden years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is, and there are some people who, and we've met people before that when they retire, they don't want to do anything. They just want to stay at home. And it's kind of strange because a lot of those people, they've saved up a lot of money. They're the ones who are able to afford to go out and do other things. And that's probably because they were so good at saving because they didn't really do anything while they were working. They were working 16, 20 hours a day. They came home, they didn't do anything. But when you retire, there are certain things that you're going to want to do, right? There are very few people just want to stay at home. You want to make sure that this roadmap process that we design is going to take into account your risk factors, it's going to take into account your income, it's going to take into account your expenses, all of these things, and it's going to be tailor-made and it's going to be flexible for you throughout your retirement years. And we visit this annually at least, and we take a look and see what's working, what's not working, if we need to make tweaks, if lifestyle things have changed.
Right.
And we can make changes at that point in time. And that's the big thing, is it's not just a sit it and forget it, or it's a boilerplate plan. This is a living, breathing document, and it's going to change.
But I would also let them understand that if you do not spend your retirement money, guess who's going to? Your kids, or whoever your beneficiaries are. So they're going to enjoy all the blood, sweat, and tears that you did. So just be aware of that. I'm not saying you need to spend all your money, but if you don't use some of it to enjoy your life, somebody else is going to. Would you agree with that, Scott?
Oh, that's a 100% true statement.
You worked so hard for it.
Yeah, and honestly too, if your kids don't do it, and if you didn't set it up properly, Uncle Sam's going to spend it for
Oh, we
you,
don't
too.
want that. Don't give Uncle Sam any extra money. No, that is a negative. I've heard that there are 3 stages of retirement. Is that true? And if so, what are they?
For a lot of us, there are 3 stages of retirement, and it all depends on how long you live. So there's right when you retire, and those are going to be our super active years. We've worked really hard to get here, and we're going to go, trips, spend, do this. Then at some point, a lot of people get tired of all the hustle and bustle. They don't want to be in airports. They don't want to be riding around on trains and things. So you tend to stay at home more. And then what we ultimately have to plan for is, for those of us that could live that long, there's going to be years where you can't do anything because your health tells you can't. And there needs to be dollars to fund the care you need. And yeah, those are, for those of us that will be lucky enough to live a long life, you will more than likely have those 3 stages of retirement.
Wow, I'm glad you put it in perspective like that too, because you have to think about your care at the end. Who is going to take care of you? We all think we can take care of ourselves, but there will possibly come a point where
But that's why you
we
have to
can't.
have an enhanced planning situation so you cover all those bases.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of that, now is a good time to call, and we have a special offer.
Yeah, we do. The first 10 callers who have saved $250,000 or more for retirement, call the number you see on your screen, 833-897-4845. We'd like to personally invite you into the office. We will sit down with you and create your very own retirement roadmap. And Cheryl, the best part is we'll do it on a complimentary basis.
Good stuff. Okay, it is time for a commercial break, but keep those questions coming, and also that QR code at the bottom of the screen. Scan that and set up your appointment, or you can call that number once again as 833-897-4845. Coming up next, we will feature some of your burning questions. Stay right there.
It was the longest running bull market in history. Everything was looking up. While inverted yield curves pointed to a recession, the market kept going. And then, if you're planning to retire soon, that could spell bad news for your returns. Our team can help you better withstand the bear market. Now more than ever, you need a financial professional to stand with you. Visit our website to learn more about our services. You can call or email our office to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Welcome back to Aspire to Retire. Let's get those phones ringing. It's our favorite part of the show. Time to feature some of your burning questions. Before we do that, what can our viewers expect by being one of the first 10 callers today?
So what they can expect is they'll receive a package in the mail from us in preparation for their first appointment with us, where we'll sit down with them personally and walk through the process, get to know them a little bit more. They'll get to know us a little bit more. Inside that package, we'll have a little bit more information about us before they do meet us in person. So that's what they'll expect.
Good stuff. And then we get to the meet and greet, which is
go.
always a fun part. Let's get to those questions now. Douglas from Chester says, I want a relaxing retirement. I really want to spend time with my wife and our grandkids. How can I be sure I have enough money to make this happen?
Douglas, call. Give us a call.
Yeah.
Schedule an appointment. Sit down with us. We will certainly be more than happy to run you through the roadmap process. We'll take a look at where your money is, what your goals are. I heard grandkids in there. I know that my mother spends more money on her grandson than my father would like. So maybe we need to budget some extra dollars for the grandkids. So
You probably spend more money on the grandkids than you did on you, right?
Yes,
that's 100% true
probably.
statement. Tim, would you
grandkids.
agree with that statement?
It's possible.
It's possible. Okay.
That's
But that's the
hilarious.
biggest thing is we have this roadmap process for a reason, and that could really help him is sitting down, taking a look at this, and we can create those income streams and make him have that relaxing retirement that he wants.
Right.
But I think number one is they need to have a plan in place. It's just not something that you fly by the seat of your pants.
No, you can't. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, you're going to be just fine."
Yeah.
You've got X amount of dollars in the bank. No, everybody is different. So, all right, good question. Cynthia from Disputanta says, "I've heard horror stories about people having their savings wiped out in retirement due to an unforeseen event." Ooh, that gives me goosebumps. What can I do to make sure that does not happen to me? That is a good question.
Well, what I would say, number one, is we cannot plan for everything that might happen
Yeah.
in your life, but you do need to make sure that certain things that might happen, such as a medical emergency, medical costs will wipe out more
Yes.
income, more assets than probably anything else other than Uncle Sam.
Right.
Okay? You need to make sure that you've got a good tax plan in place for those things that you didn't think that you would have to pay taxes in retirement, but sorry to tell you that's not true.
Right.
But without planning, you just don't know what might happen.
And health insurance.
Yeah.
I feel like some people just say, "Oh, I can't afford it. I'm not going to pay the premiums. Oh, it's too much of a hassle. I don't want to do it. I'm healthy. I'm fine." I'm going, all it takes is one health event to, like you said, wipe you out.
Yeah, you're talking maybe $1,000 a month for medical insurance stuff, but when they pay out 100, 200,000,
Yes.
we've got some clients with $2 million claims because of situations, cancers and things like that.
Yeah.
So that can happen. We've seen it many a time.
Absolutely. And I mean, Cynthia, we get questions like that all the time, like we just got from Cynthia. And I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to say the same thing to Cynthia that I said to Douglas. Call us, sit down, have that plan built for you so you can have that peace of mind that your money is secure enough, diverse enough that your plan can roll with the punches of life.
Right.
But the other thing I would say is there's certain things that's going on in the world today is that we did not plan our retirement, and all of a sudden we have kids coming back living with us. So that's going to be an added cost that we did not plan for. So those are all different things that could happen, and I wish I could tell you that we have the answers to everything that could happen to you, but you do need to be prepared.
Yeah, you can't cover every base, but we try to cover as many bases as we possibly can, and that's the name of the game.
I feel like it's playing the what if game. What if this? What if that? What if that? I was always told not to play what if as a child, but I think in this case it's good to play what if.
Yeah.
To be prepared, right?
Well, that's life.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
All right. Next is Charles from Hanover. Charles says, I've been retired for a bit now. Sometimes I can't sleep because I'm so worried about losing all my savings. What could you do for me to help? Oh, man, poor Charles.
Well,
Go ahead.
it sounds like he probably has all of his money in the stock market, and if that's the case and you're retired, I don't know if that's the right strategy.
Right.
So, like Scott's continuing to say, give us a call. We could sit down, take a look at your risk tolerance. What do you need? Do you need any money from those accounts? Those kinds of things are what we like to go through, because It's all based off the individual. There are some people, there's people we've met with that are 85 years old and have $10 million in the stock market, and you can't tell them to get out of the stock market because they don't need it. There are certain people that just want to be there, that's what they want to do, but they're not concerned. If you're concerned about having money in the market, more than likely you might need to remove some money from the market. But those are things that we sit down and we talk to folks about.
All right. Next is Gina from Chesterfield. Gina says, I get really scared about my estate being taxed to death when I pass on. How can I leave a legacy to my kids without the IRS taking it all?
Gina, that's a really good question, and that's a really good worry for a lot of us. Well, we're parents here. I mean, I think we all worry about how do we take care of our kids and leave the legacy that we want to leave. There's a lot of different strategies out there, and we can't tell you just one is. We need to sit with you, understand your specific situation, but there are ways to hedge your dollars so that you can offset taxation. You can leave large sums to your heirs, to charity, wherever you want your legacy to be left. It can be done. It just takes a little bit of planning up front, and we can do it by offset of taxation or possibly full out tax-free proceeds.
Right, and there are different things that you can use. I know a lot of people hate talking about life insurance because then you bring death in the conversation. Well, guess what? What is one of the only things that are guaranteed in life?
I know.
So life
know. I don't like
insurance,
talking
back
about
to
it
the
either.
tax-free thing, that's one way that you could do it, and there's other ways that you can do it as well, but also having a trust. If you funnel things to the trust when you pass away, you still kind of have some control from the grave, and some of these children need to have a little bit of control even when you're gone. So that's one way of doing it as well.
Wow.
But I would say you need to have an enhanced planning situation, and that's why you come to us.
Absolutely. And one more time, that special offer, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. The first 10 callers who have saved $250,000 more for retirement would like for you to pick up the phone and dial 833-897-4845. We'd like to personally invite you into the office, sit down with one of us, and we'll create that very own retirement roadmap just for you. And so the best part is we'll do it on a complimentary basis.
All right. And if you are a little bit phone shy, you see that QR code on the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and scan that with your cell phone. You can use that and schedule an appointment for yourself. Well, that wraps up today's show. Thank you so much for joining us again on Aspire to Retire. Next time we will talk about protecting and growing your money. If you'd like some personal advice, call us now, 1-833-897-4845, and you could be featured on our next episode. On behalf of all of us at Aspire to Retire, I'm your host, Cheryl Nelson. Have a great day.